Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, just making sure. Thanks.
I always hate having to play this map in Clan Wars.
All right.
Just so you know, in 8 minutes I'll be hitting.
Since Oh My Matt has his super conch, Squid, can you grab your Type 5?
You want me in the Type 5 now?
Yeah, since we have 2 super
Okay.
conchs. That's one that some people have troubles with, is penning Type 5s.
User joined your channel.
Hey, Wander.
Hey,
I'm shooting back.
Eversoul's off cooldown now.
I was looking at the rangefinders on top of the turret. They don't look like they're targetable.
There's
Or
a
just, like, spaced
much better place to shoot Type 5s. I will give you some tips and tricks for Type 5s, especially frontally. Alright, I am good with this.
What, load gold and aim at a certain spot?
What, on the Type 5 were you talking about those viewports, the rangefinders?
Negative.
Yeah, I think Abbott's just saying they were HP. Or if you hit them, they cause damage.
And if you people know somebody by the name of Thomas Eversole who applied to our clan,
Wander does.
what do you think?
He's got a very deep garage, and he will show up any fucking time.
Yeah, if I was kind of checking his stats, seems like he's struggling a bit. But
Yeah, I mean, he's not the best player, but I mean, he is dedicated.
dedicated.
Tier 10s?
Yeah, you guys kept me.
He has a shitload of tier 10s.
We can teach him how to be good.
Yeah, right?
Hey, there's a, I'm gonna bring it up and leave it up to you guys. There's a guy that I know from one of my former clans named Yu. Got an incredibly deep garage. Called for Harmsy for a while. He's a good player, not the very best, but he's a solid player, and he will show up when needed. Currently without a clan.
Yeah, send him an invite, I guess.
We're really low on slots, but we'll see.
I have started the process for that, so for the inactive players, I have sicked one of my XOs on going through the last 28 days for skirmishes and advances and clan wars, to seeing who has a 0 in each one of those categories.
Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna accept this guy.
Yeah.
We haven't been.
What say you, Wander? Who says you're a scrub?
Alright. Here we go.
Where are we going?
Meeting in the middle.
So it's only live fire on Firewolf, right?
Negative. I will call which target. I want to do a presentation on tanks. So we'll start with Squid and the Type 5, actually.
User joined your channel.
Hey, Bread. There is a stream available for the training if you didn't make it into the training room.
Okie dokie. Where are we headed?
Middle.
To the middle. Middle courtyard.
Yes. I'll see you guys when you get there.
Is it the link in the Clan Wars?
Yes.
Sweet.
Spotted.
Go Hell no. Oh, look at that pretty red tank.
Mm-hmm.
Did I hear focus fire on?
Kill shot on bad chat coming up.
Alright, so let's talk about the Type 5 Heavy. Back away from the middle. So I'm basically a pointer since... Alright, sit still there, Squid.
Yep.
On the Type 5 Heavy, there are two sets of flats. One right here, right where I'm pointing at, just above the track. You guys see it?
The shoulder.
Yep. That point right there is lower in armor, and you can sometimes penetrate that. So you can take a flat-on angle to it, see if you get a green reticle to it.
You're
I think
referring to
Juggernaut
machine
can
gun
get
port, right?
green arrow no matter what he points at on that thing.
I got green all over the place.
Doesn't mean it just doesn't mean it's gonna pen.
Right.
Right. Only
Yeah,
place I
but-
don't have green is up on the very front.
I'm
Would
not
you have a
getting
super
any.
heavy spall liner?
No
Yep.
green.
Alright, so
No green from the front for the IS-7.
what about this spot right here, in line with here, one of these shoulders?
That little angly piece right there.
Yep, if you're flat onto it.
It's an FE.
Try it.
Alright,
I got yellow.
on pen. I just come around the side and shoot him in the side. Right there.
Damn.
Yeah, I've definitely got a green arrow with the with ABCR.
And then there are...
I switched to heat and now it's green. A regular AP for me.
Alright, try a heat round. Okay, good. And then, of course, the two front panels, that little driver's hatch, and the machine gun port.
Yep.
Those two are penetrable. It's better to do the driver's hatch rather than the machine gun port, though.
Mine's showing 50-50 with AP. I have to go back to heat those.
Okay. I know you guys are nice and close.
Need heat to pen those.
Where are you going?
How does it work when you get a little bit further away?
Still
And I'm
completely
moving.
green for me.
Oh, try to pen it now. I'm moving.
There you go.
Okay.
As long as it can work as I'm farther, you know, because you're not going to be
That
able to...
driver's hatch is still a very good sized target and is pretty easy to hit. So if you get one frontally, pen that driver's hatch. It's a better option than the cupola, because see the angling on that cupola, how it slopes up? That's going to hurt your ability to pen. So basically, right where that little glass window is basically where you have to hit in the cupola, and that's a pretty small target.
Also, RMG is hard to hit that cupola.
Yes, very much so. So basically, that driver's hatch is your best bet. If he's angled to you slightly, then those shoulders on the side are a good option. And otherwise, you need to go around to the side or to the rear. Alright.
Just remember, when you go around to the side, you want to be flat, flush and flat.
Yes, you do. Let's talk about the 268
Really?
V4. Let's focus on the targets. So, frontally, the weak points that we have available to us on a 268 V4. See where that logo is on the top? With the fact that he is backed up against that building and he has made it a little bit more flat, that makes it a easy penetration for me with standard ammo. And it should make it probably green or iffy to an orange for you guys.
Yeah,
I got
green for me with standard AP.
green with AP.
Now, see that flat plate in the front there, in the middle? Do not shoot that. That will bounce every time.
Yeah, it shows.
The plate right underneath it is a very small target, so unless he's being stationary off of a corner...
Can I try showing red? I mean, showing green.
Down on the bottom, you can get a pen off the bottom.
I just went right through that front plate.
So, what I would say to you, Jug, is that you would want to be firing blaze it rounds in that no matter what.
Well, that's all I shoot. I keep like 4 or 5 HE for resets, and that's it.
So, one of the other places that you can shoot one of these guys if you get them frontally, and it's close quarters. Do not try and do this at distance. You have to aim for the center of that hatch there with that telescopic rangefinder right there. That is one of the targets that you can hit. The one on the right sits down a little bit lower and is not as reliable to shoot. So basically, those are your only options. This very lower plate down on the bottom, if he's slightly angled, this one up on top.
Lance, what about right by, around the gun mantlet? Because I thought the in front, right by the gun mantlet, there's a little square that goes around that's pennable too. It's like
not that I'm familiar with.
I posted the live model in chat.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. That's why I was asking. That's what I remember seeing in there.
The cheeks are unpennable.
User joined
I think the
your
cheeks
channel.
at 300 and that.
Yeah, I went dead center of that upper lower plate, the one that I've bounced on everything else, and I zinged it through it.
And the copula's so small to hit.
Yeah, the sides of the cheeks are showing 300 roughly. So I mean, if you have a heat round 330, you should be able to pen that. Yeah.
But what about the sides of the tank?
Sides are weak.
Yeah. You always want to go for those side shots. There is
don't shoot on the.
There is one special little spot on these guys that you can possibly penetrate. You see this little square just inside of the track? Right there?
Where?
Where?
Just inside of the track, right where I'm shooting. Okay. That is also a weak point. It's
also 1 pixel.
Yeah, it's a really hard shot to hit. However, if he's sitting still and being stationary, you might actually have a chance to hit it. But if he's on the move, then forget about it.
So broken.
It's always exposed, too.
Yes. Alright, so let's talk about Jagdpanzer E100. Jagdpanzer E100 frontally lower glacis is a obvious option. You see that little round turret machine gun port up on top? That is a full penetration location. If you hit that, it will penetrate.
Unless you get the sides.
Most of them will try and hide that from you, so your better bet is that lower glacis. But it is an option.
Cheeks are an easy pen, even with AP.
Which is funny, because I cannot pen his cheeks.
Yeah, you're too close.
That makes sense.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm on his team anyways, so.
Sorry, Amazing. I was just trying to pop your track. I didn't know it damn.
Alright. Next on the list, let's talk about Badger. Lower glacis is your obvious choice. Otherwise, frontally, unless you are Jagdpanzer E100, the ability to get shots through on a Badger is a lot more difficult. Especially if he goes hull down.
They don't like
No, they do not. Especially from Type 5s. Like the viewports are not a weak point on either side. The only thing that I can say to you that is a little bit weaker about those viewpoints is if you can get those flat, then it goes to a maybe. But I wouldn't count on it. The other place that you stand a chance is his gun mantlet is actually a little bit weaker. but
User joined
there are
your
very
channel.
few tanks that are going to get that. Even I'm going to struggle with that.
If you smash his gun mantlet with HE,
Yeah.
you do a lot of damage. Because
So
it's
when he
flat.
moves his gun to the left or to the right, it moves the top of that gun mantlet off away. So just like put your gun up a little bit right there. There is a sliver, yeah, right down through there. So if he's looking at somebody else,
Freaking sliver.
you might be able to get that shot. But otherwise, you either need lower glacis HE, like a Type 5 heavy shooting into that thing, or you need to drive around it. Alright, so
How's the Badger's side armor though?
Oh my, Matt. you
let's
saved
talk
me
about
from that.
Marximus and the mouse. So, Marximus and the mouse. The lower glacis is a obvious choice. Right there in the middle. If you go to the left or to the right inside of the tracks, then you will not pen. You will get a bunch of track, and that's all you're going to get. One of the other obvious targets is the turret cheeks. So if the mouse is looking directly at you, that set of turret cheeks is a good place to pen. So
With gold, you could probably pen it on an angle.
yes, if you have gold loaded, but otherwise standard AP probably won't pen. There is also a little shield just below the gun. They're on the front of the tank. Some people have penned. You have to have a high amount of pen to do it, but you can pen through there and you'll get a crit hit. Ooh, somebody got the pen shot.
I didn't pen,
Yeah.
but I did get a crit.
What module is that that got critted, Marks?
I don't know what I critted.
It's the viewpoint.
Oh, okay.
It was the viewport.
Somebody smacked the viewport.
Shit, I got through on that one.
Don't forget the
Yes.
gun mantlet on the Moss is extremely
gun
vulnerable to
mantlet.
pen.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you don't want to frontally deal with a mouse. Unless you have the lower glacis, the turret cheeks, and that gun mantlet, then you don't want to frontally deal with it. If he angles that turret, then you're not going to pen. Unless you have an awful lot of pen. Like I said, otherwise, go around. Alright, so, next on the list, let's talk about...
Hold on, Zlanch, how high do you have to shoot on the Moss in order not to track it on the side?
Alright, are you watching the stream?
No, I'm asking the question for people who might not know that.
User joined your
Alright, so let's
channel.
talk about on the side, because he is right. Those are some pretty monstrous tracks, and they do give a lot of armor bonus.
User left your channel.
To the point where it can cause a lot of trouble to pen.
The model.
So you see this section right here where I just shot? And where the little light is right here on the front? See how high that is? You can go a tiny bit below that light, so probably about right here. If you're shooting any lower than that, you are basically shooting the tracks, which...
Sorry, can you...
So you need to be shooting, so right there. If you are shooting any lower than that, you're shooting the tracks, and his tracks are going to eat the damage.
Check out the model I just posted too. Shows you exactly where the tracks start.
And I'm opening it in the link for the stream so that people who...
I was playing with Tanks GG, and if the Moss turns his turret 40 degrees, it's 330 effective, it looked like.
Yeah, so that's, yes. The Moss can actually get even higher than just turning his turret. So what I found is really outrageous is when they're on a slope and they over-angle at a 40 degree, they get somewhere around 660 effective armor ratio.
So in the middle section, they're just forward of the end of his gun mantlet where it actually goes into the barrel. There's a section where his tracks drop down. He is away from the main drive sprockets. And so you're looking at about right there where the tracks drop down. Everybody see that?
Back of the
This
front.
is on the front. And then on the back, it's probably about right here. Everybody see that? Yep. So that is a section, so it should be right about there is where you're going to get into track.
It's above the third road wheel.
So right below mid turret, above the track?
Yeah. So you need to be shooting above that. Now, you see the weld on the side? The weld on the side of this tank, that little section right there, actually counts as angled armor. Do not shoot that. This little welded section right here will bounce.
Yeah.
Alright, anyways. Next tank on the list, let's talk about the Super Conch. Super Conch, hull is weak. You want to shoot the hull, the lower glacis. The upper part is angled enough it will cause you problems. There is, however, the little driver's port there, which you can go through if he is hull down enough to hide that lower part. You can also go directly underneath the gun mantlet / turret ring. You will be able to penetrate through that. And then just to the left or to the right of this plates that say Dragon, but in between those plates and the gun mantlet, there's a flatter section that you can get into. It's not reliable though. You need an awful lot of pen. The weak point that used to be the capula for this thing actually isn't very weak.
How about the rangefinder on the top? I'm showing
yeah, through the ports, but it's actually fairly strong. Let me put it to you this way. Yeah, you have to have an angle on it. Yeah,
right there.
You should have heat and it'll go through.
That was just standard AP right through there.
You're hitting that little driver's, or not the driver's, the windows.
The rangefinder thing, isn't it? Kind
Those
of that
two
little
windows
bar on the
through,
top.
that's what's giving you the pen. But anyways, if you go against a hull down Super Conch, you might consider finding another target. Now, let's talk about this from an HE standpoint. From an HE standpoint, these plates up here on top of the turret count as spaced armor. So, for example, let's say Juggernaut were to be playing Yagzilla, and he goes, I want to shoot the Super Conch, and he sends around right smack dab into that plate. He's not going to do much of anything to that tank, because that counts as spaced armor.
Does that go
Yes.
for heat as well?
HE and heat.
Yes.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, it's worse against heat than it is HE.
Yeah, never shoot a heat at the Super Conquered trait. You're never.
However, heat will penetrate
Unless
this
you're going
part
for
here.
that
If you
cupola.
catch him looking at you, and you go in between the gun and those plates, and it's close quarters, then you can make that work for you. However, that's pretty risky business. You are kind of hoping heavily on RNG. And obviously you don't want to shoot it in the tracks with heat either. That's a no-no on any tank.
And the front part of the upper plate was all spaced
Yes, it
armor as
does.
well. It's got a slab on
So
top
don't
of it.
smack that with
not on the front either.
or HE. You want to be aiming for that lower where the tow hooks are, or you want to put it into the turret ring, or one of those other locations. Otherwise, go around the side, get on its butt, get into the back of the turret. Alright, let's talk about Buddy Dog and the IS-7. IS-7 is pretty standard. You've got a pike nose on that IS-7, and you've got the lower glacis. Lower glacis is a good option, but if he has over-angled and he's giving me the flat of his pike, that is a place that you're going to want to penetrate. One of the other places is his hatches are actually penetrable, but they're very small targets. I wouldn't rely on them. So you're better off taking advantage of the flats and that lower glacis. Otherwise, IS-7's turret is not a good option. As far as heat, even heat's going to struggle with the turret of an IS-7 unless you're using Blaze It rounds from Jagdpanzer E100. Maybe a Hesh round from Death Star.
Yeah, with heat, I was 1 for 4 on his turret.
That's another count. Yeah, 4-3.
Otherwise, as far as IS-7s go, you want to go around to the side and get side shots, or you want to get his butt. Get the sides of his turret are still tough nuts to crack. If he gives you the back of his turret, you can pen the back of his turret fairly easily.
Well,
Alright, let's talk about Jinji in the 430U. So, in the 430U, sides are an obvious option. Lower glacis is a good choice. Upper, if he's on a downward angle, is a good place to penetrate. But his gun mantlet, you see how he has a large rectangle for his overall gun mantlet in the circle?
Can you have him pull out from the shadow there? 'Cause it's hard to see anything on detail on the front of that tank.
You see how he has a large rectangle for the gun mantlet? You can take one of those corners as long as you're not getting into that sloped part up on the top, and that should be an easy pen.
I got their weak spots.
Where'd you pen that? Oh, there, I see it now.
The other places, he has two nice cupolas that are ready and available for shooting. The one with the machine gun is the better option, as the one with the commander's port is a little more concealed. It's dropped down into the tank.
Somebody shooting HE?
Yeah.
Why?
No idea. Yeah, IS-7, I believe.
Kill him this fast.
Yeah, but
I'm shooting heat because that's all I got left.
sure. But my question about shooting HE is, go ahead and kill him fast, because you don't know if you're going to pen him or not with an HE round or a regular round.
In Clan Wars, I'll be shooting gold, and like big stuff, I will be shooting gold. But I try not to waste my gold that I have loaded.
Okay.
The cupolas aren't that great of a spot.
Do they have high armor on that?
Yeah, you can, the 3D model. The left, facing it, the left one's around 300 plus effective.
Yep.
The other one goes around 280.
The big moral of the story with the 430U is if it's not hull down, it's basically shoot it wherever the hell you want.
If it angles its armor though, it's like what, 300?
Yeah, it can get up to about 300, but I mean, what's the magic number in World of Tanks, right? 330? 330 is your magic number?
If you get even a little bit of a downward angle,
whatever.
On the 430U, sit still for a minute there, Gingy.
Hold on, we're kind of losing focus here, guys.
So, you see this flat part just behind the front of the lower glacis? Right. You see this round plate right here?
Flat part below the lower.
There is virtually no armor whatsoever. I'm at a severe angle.
Where you?
He's shooting you through the gun deck.
Yes, you've got the upper plate, and then you've got the flat back behind it, the gun deck.
Yeah.
And then you've got the turret back behind it. There is virtually no armor. If you have any way down, so for example, he's not on high ground, you have a little bit of high ground, you can pop a shot through that deck. There's virtually no armor on that deck. Because he will take the damage from that just about every time. Devil, do you have a shot down on the deck?
30
millimeter or something like that?
It's nothing.
I'm not shooting HE, that was APCR.
It does make a difference. You could.
Oh.
No. I'm saying devil.
Yeah, he could pen through the HE with that deck.
Yeah, I got a shot.
HE doesn't have overmatch mechanics.
It'll still penetrate.
It'll still do damage though.
Yeah, I was gonna say 30 millimeters of armor. It's gonna penetrate.
Angelus, do you have
that did do some damage.
a round?
The back of it's even weaker.
Try and put art. And so with your height in the batch at 25 ton, can you get a shot down into the deck?
Not really.
Okay.
I think I'm hitting the overmatch angle.
So basically, if you are taller than a bat chat, then you'll be able to get the shot down.
Yeah.
Because even I can get that shot down.
I was gonna say, it's like,
Yeah, I'm tall enough.
You're tall enough.
So
right? Yeah,
that
you're
is
tall
a
enough.
glaring weak point on that 430U, considering there's only 40 millimeters of armor, and you start getting less of a slope on it. He sits down lower, or I'm in a taller tank. There's even less. That's where you want to smack that thing. Lower Glacius or that flat of that deck, and then there's a couple other options.
What about the Object 140? Is it similar?
No.
No, it's different. It's got less armor up front. You could
All
pen
right,
it.
so let's talk about Sturv 103B. Yes.
Hey, Slange. The 430U's heat can walk right through a 2684.
Yes, it can.
Yeah. That's why I was saying is you could go through the front deck on a 2684 with the heat out of a 430U.
Yep.
You can do it with that. You can do it with the 5A. Anything, even the TVPs. It's got enough pen with its heat to go through.
All right, so for Sturv 103B, you see the little machine gun on top of my tank? Right below that, there are a couple of viewports.
Yeah.
That is my commander's hatch. That will offer you a full penetration.
Yeah, but
No.
will you be able to go through the grill?
No.
No, you shoot over the grill.
No, you shoot over the grill. The grill counts as
I couldn't understand
armor.
all you talking at once. Oh, see, that's the problem. I can't shoot over your grill.
You have a very small window to shoot at that commander's hatch. That is your best bet. Now, there's my lower Glacius, which is an option. However, you see the shovel thingy? That will count as armor.
Yeah.
But if I angle down, because I'm on a incline or whatever, now all of a sudden, that commander's hatch just became that much more easy to penetrate. The sloped front is no longer that great of an option. However, the top, back by the engine deck, is a little bit easier place to penetrate.
Shoot it in the candy cane.
No, I literally
Yeah, that slope is basically spaced armor. However, that back part,
Kill me.
any of
Kill
that
me.
back part up there is a easier place to pen.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that's.
Anyways, gentlemen,
Yay.
that is weak point training session 1.